All right, thank you, everyone. So for those of you who don't know, Hunger Solutions New York is a mission-driven organization. We focus our efforts on increasing awareness of, support for, and participation in the federal nutrition assistance programs. This includes SNAP, the school breakfast program, the community eligibility program, summer food service program, child and adult care food program, and WIC as well. So next slide is our agenda. Like I said, we will review the various pathways to SNAP that are available to seniors and folks living with disabilities. So we will review ESAP, the Elderly Simplified Application Project, NICECAP, the New York State Combined Application Project, as well as the traditional avenue to access SNAP. For each of those pathways, we will discuss who can participate, what the application and enrollment process looks like, what the recertification process looks like, and we'll also discuss benefits and documentation. Finally, we will talk about some resources that we have for you all. So before we jump in, I do have a poll question for you all to answer. So I'm going to launch that now. So I hope you all consider yourselves anti-hunger advocates since you're joining us today. So I'm interested to see how long you've been doing anti-hunger advocacy. Got some newbies in here, less than a year. Some folks who have been doing it for 6 or more years. Some folks in between. It's nice to see we have a mix of folks. I'm going to leave this open for just a little bit longer. All right, so I'm going to end that poll. All right, so you can see we have a nice mix of folks. We've got some who've been working on anti-hunger advocacy for less than a year, some folks for more than 6 years, and some other folks in between. All right, so thank you for taking the time to answer that. So now we will jump in and talk about ESAP. So for those of you who weren't able to join us in January for our ESAP Lunch and Learn, some of this information might be repetitive, but I want to make sure that all the folks on the call today are up to speed on the SNAP changes. So who can participate in ESAP? In order to participate in ESAP, all household members must be seniors or disabled and cannot have any earned income. Jen, would you mind going to the next slide? Thank you. All household members, in order to participate in ESAP, must be seniors or disabled and cannot have any earned income. In order to be eligible for ESAP, individuals cannot be eligible for NICECAP either. We'll discuss that in a few slides. Households that do meet this criteria, that have children or disabled children, can also participate in ESAP. Next, we'll talk about ESAP application and enrollment. The application for ESAP is the same SNAP application that you already know. Once an application is submitted, the SNAP office will screen the individual for ESAP eligibility. So those enrolling in SNAP for the first time and meeting ESAP eligibility will be required to attend an interview. The SNAP office should also be screening for expedited service at this time. If you find that your local SNAP office is not doing that, please let us know. So applications can be filled out both online and in person. And with ESAP, there was also the shorter 2-page simplified SNAP application, the LDSS 5166. Folks can also use that as well, but please be advised that the local SNAP office will likely have to collect more information to verify what was reported out there. So next we'll talk about recertification for ESAP. Folks who are eligible for ESAP will need to recertify for SNAP every 36 months. There is no interview required at the time of recertification, but individuals will need to submit a completed recertification application in order to continue to receive their benefits. Next slide. So what are the benefits of ESAP? Folks will have that individualized budget that's based on their income, their expenses, and their out-of-pocket medical expenses. That's reported as well. There is no interview at recertification time, and they also benefit from that longer certification period of 36 months. So next, we'll talk about documentation for ESAP. The SNAP office is required to utilize computer data matching to determine things such as unearned income, date of birth, and social security number. Participants can self-declare their shelter expenses as well as their standard utility allowance. They must submit proof of their residency as well as any out-of-pocket medical expenses to help increase that monthly SNAP budget. At the interim period of 18 months, there is a non-mandatory interim report. So next we'll talk about NICECAP. For 2 decades, New York State has operated a combined application project called the New York State Nutrition Improvement Project. This program will be transitioning to NICECAP, the New York State Combined Application Project. So who can participate in NICECAP? Folks who are seniors or disabled and live alone and receive Social Security income are eligible to participate in NICECAP. We'll talk about the application process. Next, there is actually no separate SNAP application for folks who are eligible for SNAP through this pathway. There's also no interview and there's no verification needed. OTDA will rely on information provided by the Social Security Administration, and they will code folks appropriately and enroll them into SNAP via this pathway. So like I said, NICESNP will be replaced by NICECAP. That transition is currently happening and should be completed by 2023. So next we'll talk about recertification for NICECAP. Eligible individuals will need to recertify for SNAP every 36 months under NICECAP as well. They will also have to attend an interview at recertification time and return their SNAP recertification form at this time as well. For NICECAP recipients, there will also be a mandatory interim report that needs to be filled out and returned at the 18-month mark. So next, we'll discuss the benefits of NICECAP. Similarly to ESAP, folks benefit from an individualized budget. New NICECAP enrollees will have their SNAP cases opened with only the minimum SNAP benefit of $20 or $24. In order to maximize that budget, folks need to return the NICECAP statewide case information collection sheet. That sheet should be included with the packet of information folks receive once enrolled. It is also important to note that participants need to access those benefits within 90 days of being enrolled, or their SNAP case will be closed. So next we'll talk about NICECAP documentation. There are documentation requirements for NICECAP, including that statewide SNAP case information collection sheet that I just mentioned. Return that and to hopefully increase that SNAP benefit to get it up from that $20 or $24. Folks will also need to complete and return the SNAP application and recertification form at the time of recertification. That will be sent in a notice of expiration when it's due, and participants will need to follow regular SNAP documentation requirements for that as well. There will also be a mandatory interim report that will need to be completed and returned at the 18th month mark to avoid a case closure. So that is it for NICECAP. There's a couple questions in the chat that I want to answer just so we don't get too far past them. I believe, Lauren, you had asked about shelter expenses not being required for ESAP. They are still required. You can just self-report them now. So you don't have to have that landlord form signed by your landlord. Folks should just be able to submit either a rent receipt or a copy of their lease. For changes in an address or information with those who are eligible for NICECAP, update information with LDSS or Social Security Administration. That's a good question. We'll save this one until the end. So I have another poll question for you all. I'm going to launch it. So I'm curious, how many folks on the call today provide in-house SNAP application assistance at their agency? Wow, it looks like a lot of folks provide SNAP application assistance in-house. That's great. That's excellent. I hope the information that we're sharing with you is helpful today as well. I'll leave this open for just a couple more seconds. All right. So it looks like a lot of you provide in-house SNAP application assistance, and some of you don't. All righty. So now we're going to talk about the traditional method to access SNAP. This will be for those folks who aren't eligible for NICECAP or ESAP. Maybe they have earned income, maybe their households don't otherwise meet the eligibility criteria for ESAP or NICECAP. So who can participate in SNAP? This is for seniors or disabled folks who are ineligible for ESAP or NICECAP. So like I said, those who have earned income. Folks who access SNAP this way are still able to benefit from the other rules, such as categorical eligibility and the medical deduction. Remember, seniors do qualify for SNAP at the higher federal poverty limit, so at 200% for SNAP or folks living with disabilities. So next, we'll talk about the application and enrollment process for traditional SNAP. The same SNAP process you already know. Folks can apply online or in person. They can print or request an application from OTDA and return it via mail, fax, or in person. If alternative format applications are needed, contact the local DSS office to discuss your options. Next, we'll talk about recertification. For regular SNAP, recertification will occur every 12 months. There is documentation required, and folks will have to attend an interview as well. So benefits for this pathway to SNAP, again, it's that individualized budget based on income and expenses. Folks with the out-of-pocket medical expenses that total more than $35, please report those medical expenses to the SNAP office so that they can use those to help calculate the overall budget to hopefully increase that budget. So documentation. For those that are accessing SNAP through these traditional rules, there is documentation required to determine their budget and eligibility. Folks will need to provide documentation of shelter and utility costs, as well as costs related to childcare and child support if they pay any. Additionally, they should report out-of-pocket medical expenses to help maximize their budget. Other information required to determine eligibility includes proof of identity, age, household size, income, and marital status. Folks accessing SNAP through this traditional way will also need to fill out and return a change report form at 6 months in order to keep their SNAP case open and active. So now that we've reviewed those various pathways, we are going to talk a little bit about resources, and then I will answer, I see some great questions coming in the chat, and so we'll review those as well. So for those of you that don't know, Hunger Solutions New York manages the Nutrition Outreach and Education Program. There are NOPE coordinators in various counties across the state, placed in community-based organizations. They provide free and confidential services to help connect eligible New Yorkers to SNAP. You can find your local NOPE coordinator by visiting foodhelpny.org. Besides SNAP application assistance, NOPE coordinators can also screen for eligibility. They can provide community outreach and presentations. They can help resolve barriers, and they can also provide referrals to other nutrition assistance programs and much more. You can jump to the next slide, Jen. This is just a sort of a summary of the activities that NOPE coordinators can do. And again, if you're looking to find a local NOPE coordinator, you can visit foodhelpny.org. So next I have another poll for you all. How do you find your county's local NOPE coordinator? Excellent. I'm glad that so many folks remember how to find their NOPE coordinator. So I'll leave this open for a couple more seconds. For those of you who are not sure how to find your local NOPE coordinator, you can visit foodhelpny.org. All right, so lots of folks remembered where to find their local NOPE coordinator. Again, if you're not sure, you can visit foodhelpny.org. All right, so let's jump into these resources. So the SNAP and Seniors Professional Network, we like to update our webpage regularly to help keep you all updated about SNAP changes, including ESAP, NICECAP, and more. Shown on this slide is a recording of some of the updates that we have made. We try to condense this information into a handy chart for you all to access so you can review the various pathways to SNAP. Also available on our webpage, snapandseniorsny.org, are the other rules for seniors that we have talked about. So the medical deductions, expanded categorical eligibility, and more. Also on our webpage, you are able to access outreach toolkits and materials. We have some downloadable outreach flyers, as well as social media photos and language. Jen, you can jump to the next slide. We do encourage you to utilize the materials on our webpage. So you can either add to the current outreach you do or begin outreach if you haven't yet. Like I said, the flyers and the other outreach materials are downloadable. We can also provide you with printed copies if you would like any. Just reach out to me and we can get that started. So next we'll talk about COVID-19 updates. You can access COVID-19 updates on the Hunger Solutions New York webpage. We want to make sure you all stay up to date on it, so that is updated frequently. I wanted to also talk about the Pandemic Emergency Assistance Fund from OTDA. So on April 23rd, OTDA issued one-time payments for food to SNAP and or TA households that included at least one adult, ages 55 and older, and at least one child, 17 or under. So these benefits were issued on the cash side of the EBT cards if households were eligible. Not everyone is eligible for this benefit. It only will reach an estimated 26,000 households. But since it is tied to the EBT card, we want to make sure folks who are eligible for this benefit are aware of it and they have the information they need to access it. So households that received it, it will be on the cash side of their EBT card, and they do need to access at least part of the funds within 90 days. So each time the funds are accessed, the 90-day timeline should restart. If folks are unsure whether or not they got the benefit or not, they can check their EBT account balance. So I think that's all the information I have for you today. There are some questions in the chat, so we can take some time to answer those. I'll start where I left off. Lauren had asked for changes in address or information with those who are eligible for NICECAP, update their information with DSS or Social Security. Dawn, I don't know if
I can help. Yeah,
yes.
I can help with that. And I just want to say about shelter expenses, which Lauren also asked, people can just write a statement and say what their shelter expense is. That's what self-attestation is. So you don't have to provide any documentation. Now, if that's questionable, the SNAP office is going to ask other questions, and that means they might have other information that shows something different. For change in address, I would say that you need to do that with offices because certainly you don't want to miss any kind of notices that would come from the SNAP office. I'm just going to scroll down for these questions. So stop me, Kayla, if you don't want me to do that. But
You're fine.
so someone, Julia asked, how does the SNAP office determine if a senior is eligible for ESAP or NICECAP, since ESAP is based on unearned income and SSI is unearned income? The way that people are pulled into NICECAP is by the state looking at anyone who is receiving SSI and is coded a live alone. That's an A over A code. And so each month, the SNAP office gets a list or a state OTDA, and those people are put into NICECAP. And I think there's another question about moving out of NICECAP. So Lauren asked, if someone is eligible for NICECAP and applies for regular SNAP, would their case be transferred to the correct office program? So people don't apply for NICECAP. It's based on that determination from the Social Security Administration that they live alone and are receiving SSI benefits, which would then mean that they are not eligible for SNAP in any other way. They can only be in NICECAP. And that's a change from NICECAP, right? Some of you may remember that for NICECAP, you could move and go to regular SNAP if that was more beneficial, and that's no longer true. And when are the extra, Judy asked, when are the EAs, our emergency allotments for COVID set to end? So right now we have a public health emergency through the middle of July. And what the federal government has said is that states can give EAs through the month after. So we know that right now, EAs will continue through August, and we are working with OTDA and others to create messaging and make sure that people will be aware of this. So we will share more information with you as that's developed. There's also a chance that the public health emergency will be extended another 3 months. And so that's something that we would have more information about in May. So we're also following that as well as the state. I see that Amy asked, is there a higher benefit level for ESAP and NICECAP compared to regular SNAP? No, it's still based on the Thrifty Food Plan and the number of people in the household. But the problem for NICECAP is that people start off at a lower benefit because the state is matching them from this SSI database, right? So they may not have information from folks about their shelter or their utility cost in order to move them up. Medical costs are not part of the NICECAP. Oh, that's not true. That they are, because now it's an individual budget. So you would share, people would share those through those forms to get their benefit maximized. I see someone has their hand up.
Yes, Elvin, did you have a question? Elvin?
I have a question, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I would like to know if there are any other resources other than to pay the electricity, other than RAS or one-shot deal or ERAP, do you have any other resources? Because I understand that for ERAP takes too long and they have to on-ramp in order for them to pay the electricity. One-shot deal seems to be that is limited, and also in addition to that, one-shot deal sometimes they have to pay it back. And the other one is RAS. I don't know how that works exactly, but I would like to know because I have many participants who want electricity, many seniors who want electricity or gas.
So I don't know that I'm familiar with some of the programs that you mentioned, but I know HEAP helps folks. Sorry. I know HEAP helps folks with electricity payments. Looks like someone put in the chat HearthShare. HEAP is only open, I think it closes soon. HEAP is only open for a limited amount of time.
So can I just clarify your question? Are you asking for resources to help people with electricity specifically?
Exactly, other than one-shot deal and other than RAS and other than ERAP. Because
Okay.
ERAP, they have to on-ramp in order for them to pay the electricity. One-shot deal, sometimes they don't pay too much, and sometimes they have to pay it back. So I would like to know what other resources we have for seniors who earn a considerable, sometimes they earn like $1,000 bill.
Can you do us a favor? Can you put your, I think we just need to get your email address. I think we can spend a little bit of time putting some suggestions together and then maybe have the chance to connect with you offline to see if we can help you with some additional ideas.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Maybe Kayla, you could put your email in the chat since everyone knows it anyway. It's not proprietary. And then can you just copy that email address, sir? And then just send us a quick email so that we can follow up with you. I think it just needs a little bit more research.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Thank you.
Sherry.
I do that. Thank you.
Okay, so my email is in the chat for everyone. But yeah, if anyone at any time, if you have any questions related to SNAP, please feel free to reach out. Like I said, we are a resource for you all. Someone else put in the chat that if seniors have utility arrears, they can call Housing Court Answers. They will direct the client or the senior to organizations that will be able to assist them and have available funding. Thank you for that information. I will make sure that this is included in our follow-up Q&A document as well. There are a lot of community-based organizations who do have extra funds available to help folks with some arrears that they might have for their electricity bills. So Elvin,
that
sorry.
seems specific to New York City, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what it is, but
yeah.
that seems like New York City.
Yes, I send you my email. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We'll connect offline. Thanks, Elvin.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we got everyone's questions answered. If there aren't any other questions, I don't have anything else prepared to share with you all today. So it was nice to see everyone. It was nice to interact with everyone. Again, thank you for attending. We will have the recording and the slides, and we'll create a Q&A document answering some of these wonderful questions and send it all out to you in a couple of days. So thank you again for joining us, and I'll see you all soon.